Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday, December 13th, and I want to make a quick comment today about the core inflation number that came out. So basically, over the last several months, 5-6 months or so, I've been saying you're going to see a turn in the markets when the Fed changes their policy. And really the last month and a half, 2 months or so has, generally speaking, been pretty good for the equity markets and also the fixed income markets, because there's been a lot of stuff that at least has been becoming apparent in the economy that leads a lot of investors to believe the Fed's going to back off a little bit. We got a little bit more confirmation of that today. Core inflation number came out. People were expecting an increase of maybe 0.3%. Anything below that was viewed as a victory. Well, it came in at 0.2%. So that doesn't mean that inflation doesn't exist, because we're still dealing with a 7% year over year increase, but we're not at that peak inflation number that we were back in June anyway, where we had 9+% year over year increases in inflation. So that was a good thing. The market liked that. It makes the odds of a 50 basis point rate hike tomorrow, actually, by the Fed a little bit more likely. Outside chance maybe they go higher. I'd say outside chance they go less. I'd be real surprised if we don't get 50 basis points tomorrow. By the time this gets at least put out there in the world, we're going to know. So we'll see how well these comments age. But we probably get 50 basis points. But this also gives the Fed a little cover maybe to be a little less aggressive than they have been into early 2023. I've been saying for the last couple months as I've done these videos that you are seeing some signs of deflation, or at least a reduction in inflation in the economy. You look at industrial commodities, whether it's timber, whether it's steel, whether it's aluminum. Many of these commodities are back to levels that they were pre-COVID. You look at shipping, for example. We all saw stories about how much it costs to get a container out of Asia here to the United States. We're back at shipping prices pretty darn close to where we were pre-COVID. So there's a lot of normalization that's happening in the economy. Housing, obviously, big declines in housing in terms of sales. Buyers have figured it out. They know what they can do with a 6.5% mortgage. The sellers haven't quite figured that out yet, but they will at some point adjust. So you're seeing some things now occurring in the economy that I'm sure the Fed is looking at also. So the hope is that they back off a little bit, because for the last several months I've been saying this. People ask me, when is this decline? When's this bear market going to be done? And we are still in a bear market. The trend is still down, but we're kind of bumping up against resistance, but there's nothing, at least to this point, that says this bear market is over, and I don't know that it is. But the back of this bear market anyway is not going to get broken until we get really clear change in policy from the Federal Reserve. Today was one step closer to that. So what did the markets do? We had a really strong afternoon yesterday, I think, in anticipation of this. That carried forward through this morning. We had the S&P futures were up about 110 points or so. The market opened way up, and the rally kind of fizzled. A few of the indexes actually went negative at one point during the day, but at least they all closed in the green. They all closed pretty solidly in the green. So overall, pretty good day. I think that people were digesting what these inflation numbers were and said, hey, it's a good thing. It's something we can be pleased about, but it's not something yet to be totally, completely excited about. But in any event, we'll take it. We've had more green days in the last couple months or so than we certainly did through the few months prior to that, so we'll definitely take it. But that's what's going on. So inflation, it's still here. Anybody that's going out knows that, but it's not as hot as it was. And that is the name of the game, because if that inflation is not as hot as it has been, then the Fed can take their foot off the gas a bit. That's all I got for you today. If you stay with me this long, I appreciate it. Take care.